is bad, it's because your medical collections. But if you was practicing health as well, if you was paying attention what you was putting into your body, drinking water, making sure your skin is glistening and looking good, you wouldn't be getting sick all the time. If you worked out for once and not skip on that Planet Fitness or that gym membership that you've been paying for every month not going to, oops, yeah, I said that. If you actually used it, you could be having body edges and good credit like your girl do. But the reality is, I'm gonna help you on giving you some strategies how you get away from that medical debt. Okay, let's go. Welcome to the 700 Club. I'm gonna need you to leave that 4, that 5, and that 600 credit score at the door. I am your girl, Nika Johnson, a credit coach and budgeting expert, and I'm gonna help you get to the bag and get your credit right, okay? Today, we're gonna be talking about 3, okay? 1, 2, 3 easy ways to get out of medical debt, okay? 1, make for sure you are disputing. That's right. Dispute with the collections companies, aka the debt buyers. Make for sure you are disputing with the credit bureaus, and that is all 3. It is not necessarily needed to be able to dispute with the secondary bureaus. Dispute with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. I would recommend simultaneously making sure that you're disputing with the credit bureaus and the collections companies at the same time, because this is what's going to help speed up that process to make for sure we get the results that we desire. Now, it is true, they did pass a law that any medical collections, medical debt that's less than $500 will be removed off your credit report. Take a look at the article here and make for sure that it is removed. So if it's over $500, $501 and more, it can still report on your credit report. But if you're disputing, I would recommend disputing because it's a HIPAA violation, basically. They cannot really tell what happened. How can they verify the identity? So if you need help with dispute letters, make for sure you get our DIY, how to do it yourself, to fix your credit. Go ahead and get a template. When you are disputing and you're buying templates, always personalize it. You could even use ChatGPT. You could right click synonym. Make for sure you misspell some words. You could do yellow highlight, red font. You could write it out if you want to. There's so many different tactics as far as when you are disputing, but you want to make for sure that you personalize it so it doesn't sound robotic. You don't need to quote a lot of law. Less is more, but definitely make for sure that you're disputing with both of them, okay? How you're disputing, you can send out that letter. And there's other ways that you can dispute as well. If it's fax, if it's going to be calling, certain things that you want to verify for, if it's going to be online. But get our ebook on learning how to be able to dispute more. So make for sure you're disputing, okay? Dispute with both. You want to ask them who's the who, what, when, where, why. How can they prove that this debt is yours? And if this information that you're enjoying so far, make for sure you like, you comment, and turn on your post notifications. And show your girl some love. Because we out here making sure we get into the bag and we clear up our credit, and so we can make for sure all the things that we want is in a budget. But you want to make for sure that you're disputing on your credit report. So challenge those negative items. Look at the dollar amount between the bureaus. Make for sure the status of the type is still the same, the payment history, the dates. Find some type of inaccuracy. Pull up credit monitorings and look at each bureau side by side. Go from top to bottom to see what is the discrepancies that's on there. So if it's not 100% accurate, basically it comes down to consumer laws that's going to protect you is that you got to prove the debt is yours. Like, not you, but the credit bureaus. The credit bureaus got to prove the debt is yours or they have to remove it. So you want to make for sure that 1, you send it at that first round to the credit bureaus that you are challenging, like, hey, this is account name, account number, and the reason for your request and what action item that you want taken, right? You want to make for sure you're doing the same thing. You don't necessarily need a certified letter. Some people make up certified letters. I feel like that tactic is kind of old and outdated, but ultimately make for sure that you are disputing, okay? So you can dispute off your credit report. It's not just gonna fall off or anything like that. Don't just panic. And the reasons why and the benefits of having those collections accounts removed off your credit report, because it's gonna reduce your DTI and give you a healthy credit profile. Okay, we always want to make sure we got a healthy credit profile and making sure our credit score is A1. Because we leaving a bad credit at the door. All right. 2, I'm gonna need y'all to review your bills. Simple put, review your bills. Have y'all ever heard of medical billing? Sometimes they are inaccurate information. Sometimes they are not properly having your social security number or your identification so they can actually bill your insurance company correctly. I done heard too many horror stories of people telling me that they forgot to bill something to the insurance company, and after the allotted time, I can't recall if it's 3 months, 6 months, I can't recall, but I remember a situation vividly with a client of mine of having a baby and certain things was not billed correctly, and then they try to bill her. So make sure you asking for an itemized statement, an itemized bill, so they could be able to break down what is the charges that's on there. Let's say, for example, you was going in for blood work, but you end up not having blood work, but they still billed for that. Make for sure, like I'm telling y'all, one of the biggest scams ever out there is medical. Look, you don't feel good, so you go to the doctor so you can pay more money to go get medicine, to keep spending money, and it's this ever-ending cycle. So sometimes it's like they'll give you medicine to fix one problem, but it causes another problem. It can make sense, y'all. But I'm just telling y'all, when we're talking about finances, when we're talking about financial literacy, your health as well, that mental health, how is that physical? Can you upkeep and be able to chase your children and your grandchildren around? Or as soon as you go down a flight of stairs, you're already out of breath. Fat ass, I'm gonna need you to get in the gym. Look, simple put, we want to make for sure that we taking care of our health. And if we taking care of our health, we could be able to alleviate some of these medical bills so we won't be in some of these situations that we are in. So our credit is everything. We need to make for sure that we're itemizing those type of bills, okay? Next, after you are itemizing it, another option that you could take is making sure that you're negotiating rates, so is there income driven repayments? If you are on a fixed income, seeing what options works for you. If you come to this company, what is this pricing for this type of procedure, for this visit? What does that look like? Is there alternative low cost efficient options? Think about certain events that they have in the community. If they have free cleaning or health free screening, those are things that you could take part in to help save you some money, because we always want to make for sure we in a budget, but you definitely could be able to negotiate. A lot of people just don't know, and I think that that's what kills us, and honestly what's holding us back from the lack of unknown. You can definitely make for sure that you are negotiating your cost before your visit, not after, but before. So one thing is you want to see is, because hospitals and doctors, if you have insurance, they gonna bill you at the max rate. But if you don't have insurance, or if it's more out of pocket, you can see what option works for you. I'm telling y'all, I remember in the pandemic, I felt like the doctor was like, oh, you should run this test, you should do this. I'm like, look, doc, I've been a clean bill of health. Why do you keep trying to make me come back here more frequently? And I honestly thought it was just to keep billing my insurance, because I got that good insurance. But the reality is, like, these are some things that you could be able to do. And since that is going into, this is all in the same category of, reviewing that bill and options to be able to save money that way. But look into charity care. Nonprofit hospitals are required to have in place to be able to kind of write off people's bills. It's basically a financial program to help people cover their expenses of their bills. So I done seen people get some of the stuff right away, but typically this is not something you could try to do years later down the road. Like, you need to make for sure that you're doing this right away when you get this bill, to see what financial options that they have, and ask. If that representative is not informative, ask to speak with someone else who is. But majority nonprofit hospitals is going to have some type of service as far as a income plan of, what fees that you are eligible to be able to get waived. So ask about their financial assistance programs, because based off your income, you could get a bomb discount, pay $0 or little to nothing. And I believe, if my mind serves me correctly, federal law requires that you can apply for this up to 8 months. But again, I'd rather you do it right away as soon as you get billed. So I think that they could go up to 8 months from being billed, but I prefer just do it right away to give you that peace of mind. And another thing about it is, I believe also you can apply for it even if your bill goes to collections. So in that time frame, but as soon as you get that bill, stay on top of it. I'd rather be proactive. And another tip is, when you're handling situations like this, make for sure you're documenting the date, the time, and the representative that you spoke with, having that name or employee ID number if they provide that, and a recap of a summary of that. So that way, that if calls are recorded or not recorded and there was a hiccup somewhere, some way, that you could be able to say, based off my notes, this is what I have. And it makes you more credible that you know what you're talking about, because if their notes, they have that same name that you said, that it's more reliable. Like, okay, no, the patient, like this customer is was right. So how can we make this situation correct, like right or wrongs in that aspect? So one thing you could do is using the note sections in your phone. You definitely can be able to document that information so you can always have it at your fingertips. Now, I know I said only 3, but you know, I like to over deliver, and I gotta give you some other options besides just, before I get to that 3, that number 3, because woo, before we get there, some other options that you can have is you could create a payment plan with them. So talk to them before it goes to collections, before it goes on your credit report. You could definitely set up payment arrangements in that aspect. Use your tax refund, things like that are bonuses to be able to cover those type of expenses. You could get a credit card with 0% interest and put it on your credit card, and to be able to make those payments on a monthly basis. Statement cycle closing date or your due date. However, those are just alternative options that you could be able to do. There is something called like a medical billing advocate, to where you could be able to challenge with your insurance company can they cover this, you know, just pushing through and to really fight about the coverage and things of how can they be able to work with you. Okay, I get medical debt could be a pain in the rear. It definitely can. But taking actions to make for sure that you don't end up in a hospital bed, make for sure that you ain't dying soon, because you can't create a reservation when it's your last day on earth. So making sure that you are healthy, making sure that you're exercising, your mental health, go to therapy, like all these things that you can be able to do that's within your control, within your reach, to keep you out the hospital, to keep you from going to go see the doctors. You know, don't wait until it's too late. When you got a headache and you keep having a headache, go to the doctor. Putting that off, because it's so easy to make them appointments for your kids or your partners or your parents and whoever you are caregiving for, but it's often putting yourself last, dismissing it. So when you got that headache or that migraine that keeps happening, go to the doctor. This is why you have insurance. You know, make for sure that if you feel uncomfortable, advocate for yourself. If you go to one doctor and you didn't get the answers or the results that you desire, go see another physician. Don't feel like you need to stay at the same person. Go see different people, because you're not crazy. Listen to your gut intuition, but doing these things could be able to prevent you from even getting into medical debt, so we wouldn't be where we're at trying to get out of it. But once you out of it, stay out of it. Take care of your health. Health is wealth. We're talking about Black excellence. We want to make for sure that we are breaking generation curses, that we're making more money. But how can we do so if you fat and you trying to be a millionaire? How can you do so when you overweight? How can you sit up here and get mad because you fat or you gained all this weight during a pandemic, during COVID, and you go to the gym for a week and you don't get the desired results? I'm sorry, newsflash. It took more than a week to gain the weight, so it's going to take more than a week to lose the weight. But do what you need to do to make for sure that you are staying out of debt and not racking up medical debt. But last but not least, the other option that you have when it comes to getting out of medical debt is bankruptcy. I said it. I don't care for bankruptcy. It's not always the get out of the way free jail card, but it is an option for you. So if you file Chapter 7, it will erase everything off if you're choosing not to do payment plans or anything like that. But bankruptcy is an option. Now, I do not recommend filing bankruptcy for $5,000 debt. 10,000, 20,000. But if it's unbearable, and only you will know because it's subjective to each person, but it's uncontrollable for you and your finances, and you don't think that you can be able to pay on it, then that is an option for you. Go look into a bankruptcy attorney, do your own research, and figure out what's best for you. Make for sure you like, you comment, and subscribe, and turn your post notifications on. Chime in down below if any of this information helped you. I know we talked about so many different things to be able to get you out of debt, but you got at least 3 that you could go back and go implement. But before we get out of here, y'all know what I'm about to say? Before we get out of here, I just got one question for you. Is that medical debt in your budget? Look, I just got one question for you. Is that medical debt in your budget?